Namaste, everyone. I'm Prabha Krishna, and I warmly welcome each one of you to this year-end session by Disha Bharat. Disha Bharat is a non-profit social initiative that began in 2005 with a noble objective, that is to impart values at the higher education domain under the overarching theme, know yourself, know your country, know your culture. Over the years, Disha Bharat has worked tirelessly to bring value-based transformations to students, teaching faculty, and parents alike. This year marks a significant milestone. That is the 20th year of Disha Bharat's journey. Isn't it wonderful? And it is in the field of value education. To commemorate this, we have planned a series of year-long events aimed at reaching far, wide, and deep into various sections of society, spreading the message of values and ethics. One of our noteworthy initiatives this year has been the talk series on the theme Ethics from Epics. That's itself such a beautiful, catchy title, isn't it? Which began in February 2024. And this series dwells into the ethical principles embedded in timeless ancient epics such as the Ramayana and Mahabharata, exploring them from multiple perspectives. We see so many beautiful characters in these two epics, and we always only see the superficial story. And here we have got so many beautiful speakers all these months speaking on various topics, absolutely nourishing us all. So today we have gathered here for the 10th session of this inspiring series. Through these talks, we aim to help participants not only appreciate the vast repository of timeless wisdom our country possesses, but also inspire them to walk the ethical path in both their personal and professional lives. Earlier, we had speakers like Dr. Satyavati, Dr. Mahadevan, Dr. Guru Raj, Dr. Arati, and so many other speakers speaking on various topics. I'm sure many of you would have heard them live. And if you have if you have missed, please go to the YouTube channel and watch all of the sessions. And it will be, I guarantee you, it will be wonderful. So today, this evening, we are truly blessed to have Raghuramji, our favorite Raghuramji, a revered speaker and a thought leader who will share this profound insights on the topic from law to Dharma, a journey of self-discovery and purpose. I'm confident that his words will leave us with a deeper understanding of how Dharma will guide us towards a meaningful and a purpose-grown life. So now let me just share. I'm blessed to be sharing about Raghuramji. Although it is a huge 3,000 word essay about Raghuramji's, to give a description about Raghuramji, I'm going to try my best to shorten it. So it's my privilege to introduce him too. And he is a founder, spiritual guide, and a mentor of Yoga Bharati USA and India chapter. He is a president of Disha Bharat and all other many wonderful organizations in India dedicated to uplifting the cultural heritage of yoga and Indian knowledge systems. Raghuramji's spiritual journey began in his early childhood, driven by a deep thirst of knowledge. After a decade-long career as an engineer, he devoted himself entirely to spread holistic yoga and spiritual wisdom across the globe. He has been associated with legendary spiritual figures like Swami Rama, Swami Chinmayananda, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, and so many other gurus, and considers Shastriji, Professor Satyanarayana ji as his guru, as a most profound influence on his spiritual path. He also draws inspiration from Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Sharada Mata, Swami Vivekananda, and you will see him referring them in all his stories and many of his subjects and topics. And I'm sure today he will be bringing them also in this wonderful topic. For over 40 years and maybe more than that, Raghuramji has traveled the world guiding research projects, training yoga teachers, uplifting the cultural and heritage of India, giving beautiful wisdom about Indian heritage and culture to so many people, transforming countless of lives. He has contributed many research programs in Germany, Turkey, and USA, initiating prestigious projects. His ability, that is the most beautiful part of Raghuramji, is his ability to simplify Vedic and Upanishadic concepts in a very simple and lucid manner. And that makes it accessible to modern audience, to youngsters, to everyone, every age group. Raghuramji epitomizes Bhakti Yoga, teaching us to dissolve ego and celebrate life. Despite his vast knowledge and accomplishments, he remains humble, approachable, and deeply inspiring. He's a true spiritual legend. We are fortunate to have him today here. And let us all welcome Raghuramji. to hear this beautiful insight from law to dharma, because we always think that law and dharma are together. What is such a big difference about it? Because today, when you hear him say about the beautiful aspects of dharma, we'll understand that how it brings about a beautiful self-exploration, self-discovery, and also help us understand that, yes, you know what, by understanding dharma and also the application of these concepts in our life, it is going to really shape our personality, shape our growth. And when it shapes our growth, it's going to make a beautiful impact on everyone else. So over to Raghuramji. Thank you very, very much. Let us all listen. And you have any questions to post, please post it so that we can address it towards the end of the session. Thank you so much.
Namaste, one and all. It gives me great pleasure to share the ideas of ethics, ethics from epics, particularly a journey from law to dharma, which is the basic foundation for the Sanatana Dharma. I would like to share these ideas with you. Before I share that, I thank the whole of Disha Bharat team and everybody, all the audience, for giving me such a wonderful encouragement for taking up this particular project. And thanks, Prabha, for giving a nice introduction about me. Having this said, as she said, behind me, Ramakrishna, Sharda Devi, Vivekananda, they are not three different personalities, they are one together for me and guiding me all the time. And one thing that Vivekananda said, it was like a epoch-making statement Vivekananda said at the Parliament of World Religions in Chicago, 1893. He said that each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest the divinity by controlling the nature, internal, external. This you can do either by work, worship, philosophy, psychic control. When Swamiji said that each soul is potentially divine, it's such a wonderful, extraordinary, satisfying, positive statement where people think that everybody, common man, is a fall from the divinity or this and that. Whereas here is a person who says you are potentially divine. But at the same time, when he said potentially divine, he also says that it does not mean if it does not manifest. So therefore, we have a goal, purpose in life, and that's what is manifestation of the divinity within by controlling the nature, internal, external. And therefore, this journey starts. And in this particular journey of going from potential divinity to manifested divinity, the steps that we have is this particular ethics. Now, let me come to some idea about this ethics. Where does it fall in our way of life is? Actually, when we said that this particular idea of growth of human being towards a better human being also is given by Sri Aurobindo. He says that animal man to common man to God level, this journey is something that is what envisaged by Sri Aurobindo. So that means to say there is uniformity in the thinking of great sages and saints. Right from the time of creation, this has been there in our culture. Now, what happens when you look at this whole thing is that the simple idea is that the animal level, when we look at it, there are certain inbuilt kind of limitations or inbuilt kind of ethics that are there in the animals. Like, for example, when they're hungry, they eat food. Otherwise, they don't eat. They just leave it behind. Other predators, they eat the food. Like, for example, I saw a tiger having on YouTube, a tiger having stomach full, lying down. Inches in front of the tiger, a deer was grazing, and the tiger raised his head, looked at the deer because it's disturbed, and immediately the deer also recognized that he is the hot food ready from microwave in front of tiger. But the tiger yawned and slept back because the stomach was full. And the deer continued to graze there, did not get panicked about that. So a commentator said very nice thing. He said, tigers are not violent. They eat food when they are hungry. It's a very beautiful message that he gave, saying that the inbuilt mechanism in the tiger to see that when they're not hungry, they don't necessarily hurt anybody. So this kind of a thing you can see the animal kingdom. They go to the world outside only when they are really in need of it. They don't have any greed other than that. And this is what is the case of human being, in the case of an animal. But when it go to a next level, that's what is a human being when you look at. Human being also can have the food that is there and the material that is there outside for his needs. But he doesn't stop there, he goes beyond. Not only that he goes beyond, but he hurts the other species and other human being in this whole process. So that's where basically that we need certain kind of discipline in this human race. Essentially, that what was the beginning to start with? When we say, people say that in the animal world, that is might is right. I don't agree with that, because the forest, there are mighty animals are also there, and weak animals are also, they coexist. Everything exists there in the nature. Whereas in the case of human being only, when early human being, there was something like they were just showing that their might, and then they would like to subdue others. They would take away others. So might was right, and that same thing. Why you could see that in the cultures that were, when the travelers are going, that you waylay them and then take away all their belongings and everything and kill them. So this is what, because the simple thing is that you are mighty. So this is what is the law that people used to follow. Might is right. When this was a kind of a thing that was going on in the nature, in fact, it is not a law, but it is lawlessness. From there, first thing that emerged is law. So we require the law to see that human being, not only that he lives, but the other also lives. So therefore, live and let live. That's what is the first law that has taken place. That's a simple way that law can be understood. I also live, you also live. Just because that I am mighty, you are not mighty, does not mean that you cannot have a right to live. You also live. Similarly, I have some material, that you have some material, we barter about that so that you also survive, I also survive. These are the ways that basically laws come. So therefore, that law is given by the society to see that we share and care for each other. This is a very, very important aspect of it, that law has come. But purpose of law is to see that we all survive, we all live, whether it is young or old, whether it is rich or poor, or whether it is somebody who is mighty or not mighty, all of them can survive. In fact, this is the reason why basically law becomes very important, to see that harmoniously that we can all live together. A simple law that I can think of it is a same road you can use by the people who are going in the both opposite directions. Only thing is that you make a simple law saying that each one of us, we go on our left side, so that you go on the left side, opposite person goes on the left side, so that we all survive on the road. We can make use of that road, coexist together. Like this, there are several laws that are there. Laws can be given by the people, the authorities and lawmakers and all that, wise people, that they give the laws to see that the society survives. But very important thing about this law is that the law is given to the people by the elite people, by the knowledgeable people, but at the same time, law should belong to us. It's for us, that belongs to each one of us, so that we follow the law without any compulsion, without anything from outside. If we can do that, that itself is wonderful. So essentially, that law has to come from within. When law comes from within, then we don't have much to spend on law enforcement authority and punishing authority, and all those things can be eliminated or at least reduced if the law comes from within. A citizen is somebody who really adapts this law as law belongs to me. It's not belong to the state, but it belongs to me. The state has given me the law. It's not enforced on me, but it is something that I accepted, I follow that. This is something very important. A society where the law comes from within, a citizen follows the law himself. He's the really kind of good citizen, and he's somebody who does not create the law enforcement authority and judicial authority and all that, the burden can be reduced. This itself is something which really makes a society wonderful. But after the law, above that law, the next thing is what is called as this ethics. We need to understand this ethics. In fact, several speakers, every speech that we had, epics, ethics from the epics, have given very beautifully lot of incidents, giving the idea of how the people who have given us the direction of life, they have followed these ethics in their life. And I'm sure that many people must have really been inspired by the lives that they have taken up. I'm not going to details about all those things with repeating all the stories that are given, but I take up a couple of stories with reference to my point when I want to bring about how this journey should be something which you have to take it as a life journey. So therefore, that there are a lot of incidents, a lot of experiences that from our people that they have given about the following of the law and people who followed ethics. Ethics is something much more than the law. I would like to see that ethics is something which is coming from within, and it is much more than law. When I say that, we have a very important situation I would like to observe in this situation, and that is in the Taittiriya mantra in Shikshavali. After the training is over, the teacher tells the student that it is called as Snatakottara mantra. That means to say, after the graduation, these are the things that you need to follow. And that has to come from within. It is not that the society has to give you, but it has to come from within. Such a beautiful thing. And in fact, that's said like that. Veda manuchya acharya ante vasanam anushasti. And what are these things? Satyam vada, dharmam chara, swadhyaya adhyatma prabhatatah, Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. Like that, it goes on. Various mantras are there. All these mantras are very, very important mantras which are given in the Taittiriya Upanishad. In fact, I wish that every school, every college, every university, when the students are graduating and come out of it, make them to say these things so that they can see that this culture of giving the ethics to the people is there in the school, in our culture itself. So what happens is that they have to follow these things from within their heart. Now, this ethics is something which comes from within, and then we follow that. Like, for example, no law can say that you have to respect your mother. It has to come from within. No law can say that you have to respect your father. But it's something that we need to come from within. So that what happens is that when we do this kind of thing, generation after generation, we carry this culture forward and we respect this forward. In fact, in following these ethics, one of the very important thing is the Shraddha. That means devotion, dedication in doing this. And that is what is envisaged in the case of ethics. In all our ethics teachings, these are the things that are there, which should come from within. That means ordinary law follower is something which is wonderful as a very able citizen. But more respectable citizen is somebody who not only follows law, but he also follows ethics. And now these ethics can be different at different places. Like, for example, if you are working in the workplace, there are ethics different. You're at home, the ethics are different. If you're abroad, ethics are different. You're at home, ethics are different. But all the ethics are something which is taking care of law and above the law. And what is that law that we are actually thinking of? The law is the simple idea, is an instrument that we are given to see that you also exist, I also exist, you respect and I respect. This is what is in the nature. And the nature, that mutual component, respect is something which is embedded in the nature, and we try to follow that particular principle in the case of law, and ethics must be much more fulfilling than that. Let me give in the nature how that each respects the other. If you take an orange fruit, the bitter seed inside and the wonderful sweet fruit, they are born together, live together, grow together, attain the fullness together. But to look at the end of it, the seed will not say to the fruit, you should be bitter like me, then only you can exist. Or the fruit will not say to the seed, you should also become sweet like that, then only you can understand You can live here, otherwise we can expel you, we can throw you out. It does not that. And they live together. Not only that, they live together in harmony, they live together, and that's what is the health. In fact, when the moment that you remove that orange fruit, the juice separates from the seeds and other things, that will not survive for more than 5, 6 hours. Whereas the fruit as it is, you can keep it for a couple of days. See, that shows that harmony, living together, not trying to see that the other should follow my principle, my law. This itself is something which is a simple ethics that in the nature that you could see that. And because that nature has this kind of an aspect, that's the reason why in a forest, all kinds of animals live. Absolutely, totally carnivorous animals, and also totally who are absolutely vegetarian dependent animals. They all live together in harmony. We should see the nature and learn this particular idea, and we should develop the ethics in line with that. It is not that somebody has to give us ethics. We can develop our own ethics to see that how we can live together in harmony. This is what is the idea of ethics that we have in the nature. So nature follows these ethics, so we should also follow the ethics. In fact, I have seen how beautifully that in the nature, this kind of a ethical life is there. I'm not going to the scriptures because scriptural stories others have given, but these days in the YouTube that we get certain nice clippings like that, which gives some deep information about that. In one of the East European countries, one farmer, he had a caught hold of a wolf, and which is basically lives on meat. And then he had a donkey, and he was going out for about 10 days, and then he thought that he has to feed this wolf. So he thought anyway that the wolf feeds on donkey. He kept the donkey in the cage and went away. And after 5, 10 days, when he came back, he thought that donkey would have been dead and the wolf will survive. But village people complained to him, "What is this you have done?" He comes and sees that both wolf and donkey, they're living together in that cage together, and the wolf did not kill the donkey. They became friends. But both of them are now emaciated. Both of them are become fasting. They shouted at him, and wolf has to go to the forest. Why do you keep capture it? He left that wolf. Wolf ran away into the forest. People were happy. The donkey was alive. Everything is fine. But a month later, that he noticed that one evening, after all the sheep come back home, at that time from the forest he saw two eyes looking at. Then he realized it must be the wolf. And the moment all the sheep went away, the wolf came running to the place where this cage was there, and he saw that donkey was standing there. And the moment wolf came to the donkey, and both of them were dancing together, they became good friends. This is what is nature. Unfortunately, in human being, it's so difficult. We need to learn this simple ethics of living together, being together in harmony. This is something which is very important. A number of incidents that are there in the Vedas, in the scriptures, to show that how this is taken care of. But then, apart from this ethics, there is one more level which is supposed to be dharma. That's why I took up this topic of the law to ethics to dharma. And dharma is something which is much more than just simply taking care of it. It's much more than giving something which is extraordinary. I'll give a few incidents to show that how dharma is different from the law, and that is presented by a simple incident in the case of Ramayana. In Ramayana, Rama was asked to go to the forest. Rama was asked to be coronated next day. Rama went to his place and then getting ready. And meanwhile, the message comes to him that dad wants him to come back. I'm just cutting short the whole story, giving the essence of it. And then Rama comes to Dasharatha's palace, and Dasharatha is not there. Obviously, he knows that he must be there in Kaikeyi's chamber. So he goes to Kaikeyi, his stepmother. But then Kaikeyi looked after Rama much more than Rama's original mother. Kausalya looked after him. But then at that point of time, he saw father was lying down on the ground in a very bad condition, and mother Kaikeyi was standing there ferociously, and then Rama enters there, and Kaikeyi says, Rama, come in. Your dad wanted you to come. Please come. He has a message for you. Rama didn't know what is that message. And Kaikeyi says, sit down, have a glass of water, take a rest, because it's a very serious message. Rama says, yes, what is it? And then he says, your mother Kaikeyi was two boats, and then according to that, you're supposed to go to the forest tonight. But it takes 14 years in the forest, and then Bharata will take care of the kingdom. Rama's reply to that, saying that, okay, I'm going to the forest, but you said something which is serious. Look at the way that Rama's condition, he just gave up the kingdom like that. And this is what the extraordinary ability of Rama. In fact, it was asked, did you not feel angry with Kaikeyi, with Dasharatha when he asked that? He says, no, the same father told that tomorrow I'll be coronated. Same father said, you go to the forest. How can it be a different thing? My father is always respectful. Later on, the dialogue comes. At that point of time, the discussion goes on. According to the discussion, actually, Lakshmana takes the stand of Nyaya. That means to say law or ethics, to say that you are the eldest son of the Raghuram, so you should take over the kingdom. No personal interest come in the way of the law of the land. That's what is the eldest son should be the king. So Kaikeyi's interest will not come in the way. And second thing is that a ruler has to be selected by the people. Let's go to the public. If they want, whether it is Bharata or whether they want Rama, equivocally they all say that Bharata, we want Rama alone. So therefore, you don't have to go to the forest. He also gives another Kshatriya Dharma argument, saying that, look, according to Kshatriya Dharma, let Bharata come with whole army or anything like that. Alone, Lakshmana can defend him. So that Rama, you don't have to go to the forest. See, look at the logic he has given, according to the law, according to ethics, everything. But Rama rises above that level, and Rama says, Lakshmana, you don't know the ways of Dharma. Dharma involves just giving up and going beyond. This tyaga is something which is very important. In fact, he gave up the kingdom just like that and then went away to the forest. Actually, before going there, Kaikeyi also says, Rama, come on, hurry up because it's getting dark. And Rama looks at Kaikeyi, says, Mother, don't think Rama is an ordinary person. I'm going to go. Ramo Ditna Vipashate. Rama is a very serious person. Please don't mistake me. I'm going to the forest. Let me pacify everybody and then go to the forest. How peacefully that he went to the forest. Not only that, when he went there, the dharma aspect, he further brings about that. Dasharatha dies and Kaikeyi and all these people, Bharata and everybody goes to the forest to meet Rama. And Bharata pleads Rama to come back, and Kaikeyi says, everything happened because of me. Therefore, I will just surrender myself. I give up everything. Please forgive me. Come back to the kingdom. Rama with a smile says, see, it's a word given to the father, and father has given word to you. And in order to take care of father's word, I have to go to the forest. Mother, it has nothing to do between you and me. You're always my respectful mother, as ever. I care for you. But only thing is, let me go to the forest. That's why Valmiki uses a very beautiful adjective for Rama, Pitru Satyam Anupalayam. It's not only just follow the Satya, but the word that is given by father, and that you have to follow. That means it is not whose Satya it is, whose truth it is. It's not your truth and somebody else's truth. If it is truth, then I'll have to follow that. If it is promise given by somebody, we'll have to adhere to that. Look at the way Rama's stature, where he is. It's extraordinary. Because of that reason only, Rama so courageously has taken that stand. Lakshmana says to Rama, okay, I'll go with you. Sita says to Rama, I'll go with you. So this is how Dharma is far removed above, far taken care of by Dharma, by Nyaya, ethics. Much more than that is what is Dharma. Our people followed the Dharma so meticulously. These are the great people. Similarly, we have Mahabharata also, similar kind of an incident where Bhishma takes up that stand of dharma, which is extraordinary. Ethics, far beyond the ethics, far beyond the law. And that's when Shantanu, that is Gangeya's father, was out of mood, and he was a young man, 20-year-old, 24-year-old young man, Gangeya at that time. And then he looks at his father, he's depressed and all that, because you know that his father is a single person, he doesn't have mother. And so probably he was depressed, and then Gangeya asks, Devavrata asks, please tell me what's the reason. But dad didn't say anything. But from uh, other people that he came to know, actually Shantanu became depressed from the time when he went out to for a game, and the time that he met a boat lady, a lady from the boat, his name is Satyavati, and then he fell in love with that. Probably that's the reason why he's depressed. Immediately, that's a simple thing. Then Bhishma, I mean, that is Devavrata, goes to Satyavati's father and says that, look, I am Shantanu's son. Please give, I came here to request your daughter's hand to my dad. Wow, that was something which he never thought, because he was after all a small little tribal king, and his daughter Satyavati, and such a huge kingdom, and the king, Hastinapur, and that's what is Bhishma. He says, oh, but then meanwhile, Satyavati's mother says, no, no. You see, after all, you are the king, you are the prince, therefore that you will get the kingdom next. Satyavati's children will not get the kingdom. So Satyavati will only be a second lady in the family. Your wife will be the first lady. All that thing she says, okay, then look at the way that the Devavrata takes a stand saying that, okay, if that's the case, I will not become the king. Okay, I'll give up the kingdom. Wow, that's a big decision taken by himself, like similar to what Rama has taken. Oh, he was very happy, Satyavati's father, but the mother further presses and saying that, look, your children will become the kings now, not Satyavati's grandchildren will become king. You see, all that complications. Bhishma says, a solution is there for me. What is that? I will not get married. I will give up the idea of marriage right now itself. Can you give your daughter? See, what a wonderful sacrifice that he has done. This is what is Dharma. Dharma comes from within. As I said, law comes from outside, ethics come from within, but given depending upon the situation. But dharma comes from within to stand alone, kind of a thing. That's why Devavrata's name has become Bhishma. Gave up. So these are all the examples, such similar examples that we have several things where to show that how somebody rises himself to such a level that he takes care of other person. In fact, in the similar case that in Rama's case also, there is another beautiful incident. Vibhishana comes to Rama and wants a shelter. And now the discussion was going on whether we should give shelter to Vibhishana or not. At that time, some of them, they had said, okay, anyway, enemy Ravana's brother has come, so catch hold of him and take all the secrets from him, punish him, put him in the jail. Somebody said, no, no, don't do all those things. At least till the war is over, put him in the prison so that he will not do any damage. And everybody turns to Hanuman, because Hanuman is one person who has seen Vibhishan when Hanuman went to Sri Lanka. And then he said, you know what, Hanuman, in the whole of Lanka, I've seen Vibhishana is one person who is extraordinary. He is devoted to Rama. So therefore, he is a nice person. But anyway, let us be cautious about it. Even Hanuman comes to caution, whereas Rama says, no, no, we will integrate him, we will take him. Not only that, we will coronate him for Lanka as a king till he becomes that. So he is a king, we have received him. And Rama says that beautifully. Such a beautiful way he expresses that. He says, Vibhishano va Sugrivo yadiva Ravanasvayam abhayam dadami. That means to say, earlier given shelter to uh, Sugriva when he was in the battle with Raman, with Vali, he has given Sugriva shelter. So now Vibhishana has come. Vibhishana was Sugriva, Yadiva Ravana Swayam. Even Ravana himself comes and falls at my feet saying that forgive me, I'm ready to forgive. And that's what Rama says that. Rama, there are no two ways of Rama at the very beginning. This is what is the level of Dharma. Somebody can raise to the level of Dharma. So that's why from the ethics we have to go, our scriptures have shown a level which is much higher than the simple level of law and ethics to a level which is called as the Dharma, extraordinary thing. What are the main principles in Dharma that we carry? The principles of, in all these things, give up, tyaga. And second thing is that in all the cases that you can see that tyaga was there, Rama has given up the kingdom, and Bhishma has given up the kingdom and the marriage, all these things that he has given. So, and why they have given? Because that there is love, karuna. In fact, that you can see that this is also another aspect of karuna. You can see in the case of Ramayana, in case of Rama, this is very important aspect of Dharma. Dharma's aspect is essentially it has involved in that what is called as karuna, what is called as dana, tyaga. These are the things that are there. One example about karuna, let me tell you about from Ramayana. Rama comes back to Ayodhya and is going around the whole palace. In fact, when Rama came back, a lot of people were there with Rama. And it took about a month or 2 months to see that he's left free. He's walking alone and all alone when he was coming to ground the palace. He saw a door which was completely closed for years together. So he tried to open the door early morning. And then from inside, there is a female voice says, he says, don't open this door. Because she doesn't know who is that opening this door. But lady's voice says, don't open the door. Rama says, why? Then that lady from inside says that, why do you want to open the door? Then Rama says, I want sun to come in. Because the sunrise is on. She says from inside, I don't deserve sun. Please don't open the door. Rama opens the door and finds Manthara sitting there and crying. And Rama opens the door and says, there are Manthara say, Rama, I don't deserve sun. Because there are two things. One is Rama is a Surya Vamsha. I did so much of damage to sun, Surya Vamsha. I don't deserve sun. Sun means light. Sun means brightness. I've done so much. Therefore, I locked up myself in this dark room. Rama says, Mother, you have done such a wonderful job. And Rama says very beautifully, says that when I left Ayodhya, I left 4 mothers behind. Kausalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. But at the same time, there was 4th mother, that was Manthara. Manthara took care of Rama as a child. 4 mothers behind. When I came back, I only found 3 mothers after 14 years. And I can't ask anybody, where is the 4th mother? I'm so glad today I met you. And my desire has been fulfilled. Now she cries and says, Rama, you still like me? You pardon me? Rama replies to Manthara saying that you don't know what wonderful thing that you have done, what wonderful thing have happened. She wondered, what is that? I only did the damage to the whole clan. I said, no, no damage at all. In fact, the forest also belongs to the king. The same kingdom belongs to the forest. And then rishis are there in the forest, and then they're doing tapas. And rakshas are creating so much a problem to them. A king has to go and settle the issues. If I'm sitting in Ayodhya, I couldn't do that. So I had to go to the forest and to see that all these sages are saved. And for that, God has created a wonderful scene. And in that scene, He made that I have to go to the forest for 14 years. And in that process, He made you as a bad pawn. In fact, my respect for you has grown all the more because basically that you accepted to be the bad pawn for the whole thing. What is the kindness that Rama has? This is what is karuna. Prema, karuna, tyaga. And more important thing is indriya nigraha. For all these things we require what is called as self-control. That's why we have a knowledge we have to grow. We have to have indriya nigraha. That's why Bhagavad Gita says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tat paraha sanyatendriyaha jnanam labdva param shantim achirena vigacchati. Now here, this samyatendriya is jitendriya, that means rising above the level of desires, self-control, so that what happens is paramam shantim, that's what it says, param shantim adhigacchati. What is this param shantim? What is that dharma is all about? Why do we have to follow dharma? Look at all these qualities that we said, properties of dharma that we talked about. Tyaga, prema, karuna. All these things are the ones, tools, which will take us to a higher dimension. Normally, what we understand about dharma, what we understand about the happiness is in the objective world outside. And people desist from following ethics, following dharma, because that dharma or ethics is trying to put them away from their right to happiness. They would like to have that happiness, therefore that they would like to follow. The moment we say about ethics, the moment we say about discipline or anything like that, people say that, no, I don't want to be disciplined under that, because basically that it takes away, it kills away my joy. It's a joy killer. Whereas Upanishad says that it's not the joy killer, actually the objective world outside giving you temporary joy. It's not giving you permanent joy. Like, for example, we are hungry. Hunger requires food. You give the food so that hunger will be satisfied. You get the satisfaction. But that satisfaction lives for a few hours. Similarly, you buy an objective things. Object gives you extraordinary, wonderful joy, satisfaction. But for a few moments, immediately the object gets outdated and your joy will also get outdated. Because of that reason only, that there are two things that happen is, one way that we are running behind the object for the sake of happiness, how many objects that we are unnecessarily abusing. Second thing is, in the process going towards the happiness in the world outside, we are abusing ourselves, our own system that we are abusing. The more and more that the sweets give me happiness, I take it, I become a victim of diabetes, victim of hypertension. My health is not taken care of. And more important thing is that because of this reason, we are in competition. We are in trying to fight with others. We don't have that karuna within us. Unfortunately, all these things will push you downwards. Whereas if you have this tyaga, karuna, all these things consciously, prema, consciously that you follow, it will elevate your personality to a higher level. That's why Bhagavad Gita says that param shantim, paramam shantim adhigacchati. Not ordinary shanti. Ordinary shanti, ordinary peace is that, yes, I'm hungry, I take food, I'm happiness. He says that that happiness in the object, you're not denying it, but you rise above that level. Only in this culture that we have this idea where you say that, can we go to a higher level to see that we free yourself from the objective world outside. Otherwise, what happens is that more and more that involved in the objective world seem to be giving you happiness in the beginning, but slowly it enslaves you. Whatever that object which earlier used to give you happiness, now the object does not give any more happiness. You require higher dose, a greater dose, or a different object to see that this rat race continues. Unfortunately, that we are in this rat race, in this world, because basically that we are running in the world outside for the sake of happiness. In this process, how much are we abusing the nature's resources? Look at the way fossil fuels that we are emptying. Look at the way that how much forests are we denuding. How many things that we are destroying in the nature outside, flora and fauna, everything we are destroying for the sake of human happiness. In the creation, actually, no other thing will do that. Only we do that. Unfortunately, human being is doing that. That's why there is such a beautiful mantra which says that Give me, O Lord, an ability to see that I give much more than I take. And that applies not only to the human being, but also to the nature. I give much more to the nature than I take it. This is what is dana. This is what is Tyaga is something where I'm not dependent on the object outside. Dana is I give to the world outside so that the world become richer. Tyaga is something which is very important to see that, the idea of Tyaga is it's not a question of that object does not have importance. Object is important. Object is wonderful. I have no negativity about the object outside. But only thing is that I don't need that object. I don't need that object. Simplistic living is the way that I go, so that the rest of it I give. That's what in the case of Yajnavalkya's story, that he gives to his wife that all the wealth I've distributed, Maitreyi and Kati. And he says that I give you this wealth. Then he says, why do you give this wealth? You are giving away. Where are you going? I said, I'm going in search of happiness. Then she says, the happiness is not there in this wealth. Why do you give it to me? Let's give it away. So therefore, that's what he says that if you are giving away, then don't ask me to have it. I'll go with you. In fact, in the case of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also, a person comes to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, bag of gold coins, and says that I developed renunciation in my life. I give up all these gold coins. I don't want anymore. So I thought I will give you these gold coins so that I go. And then Ramakrishna says, you see, I don't have anything. I can't even take care of anything. I also don't need these gold coins. You also don't need. Let's sit down and do bhajan. Go to the river, Hooghly, at the backside, and then throw all these gold coins and come back. And Ramakrishna is waiting. That fellow will come back in 10, 15 minutes. But then 15 minutes, half an hour, that fellow did not come back. Ramakrishna had a doubt. What happened to him? Did he think that he doesn't require gold coins? He also doesn't require himself. He must have given himself to the Ganga. Then he went backside and then saw. He's sitting by the side of Ganga banks and then throwing the coins to 1, 212, 213, 214. Hare, how many coins that you are throwing away, you count it. That means you are not given up. Given up is you don't need it, but the count we need it. So this is what is Tyaga. Tyage naike amritattva manusha. Mritatva is there in the material world. Amritatva is going to a higher level. That's what is the purpose of Dharma, is to take us towards that moksha. And as long as we are in this world, we live in this world in the form of giving to the others, serving to the others, and with love, with Shraddha, with Karuna. This is what we do. That's why there is such a beautiful Upanishad mantra which says, oh God, give me the ability, Jivane Yavadadanam, Syat Pradhanam Tatodikam, Ityesha Prarthanasmakam, Bhagavan Parpuryatam. Give me that ability to see that whatever that I give to the world, much more than I take. In any case, in any situation, I feel that I give much more than I take. This was the basic principle on which the Sanatana Dharma survives. And this Dharma that when we talk to that level, as I said, ethics can be at local levels, ethics can be at various places, but Dharma can be universal. And everybody has a right to go towards Dharma so that he can get the freedom, moksha in that. This prayer that he says that Givane Yavadadanam Syat Pradhanam Tatodikam. Look at the nature. That's what nature follows. Like, for example, a small little plant that is there, what do you give? A small little, a glass of water, a little manure, and that plant gives nice, wonderful flowers, adds beauty to the nature. Big tree, you don't even give water to it. Mango tree, season after season, it gives fruits to us. Never ask anything in return. Everything is giving in the nature. Nothing is asking in return. When you look at the nature, that's what it is doing. In fact, an earthworm created becomes insignificant. It stays under the earth, but then it makes the earth fertile, make it better. A soap bubble, nothing is inside, nothing is outside. But look at the way that how soap bubble maintains a beautiful geometrical figure of a sphere, and it flies freely in the air and reflecting the sunlight, giving you joy out of it. Nothing is there. If a soap bubble can give joy, can give. If a plant can give, an animal can give, why not human being? Let's give much more than what we take. This is the idea of the central summum bonum idea of ethics and higher to the level of dharma. But ultimately, why give? Not that I'm losing the happiness, but I'm losing the attachment to the object outside. I happily give it. I saw that what happens is that I recognize the happiness that's there within me. Object does not give me happiness. Happiness is my own nature. Recognizing that harmony is our own nature, as I said, happiness is our own nature. And if we can recognize that, that's what is the mukti or moksha. That's what is higher than every other principle that we do it. So let us try to see that we adapt simple ethics, simple dharma at the family level, at the official level, and at the nature level, that we let us try to bring about these ideas in our day-to-day life. Once again, let me reiterate that a simple animal level, that there is the idea of, they also have this idea of coexisting, living together. In animal level, it is there. Only thing is, when human being also loses that particular care, then he becomes below the animal. That's why ahara nidra bhayamaidunancha samanyametat pashubir naranam buddhiri tesham adhiko visesha buddhir vihinaha pashubir samana. In fact, there he says, Bhartrihari, Pashu is Samanam. I would say he would go down below the Pashu also, animal also. Buddhir Vihinaha. What is this Buddhi? Often we translate Buddhi as intellect. It's not just intellect, but it is discrimination. Viveka. That's what you call it as Buddhi. Viveka is this way. Unfortunately, today what happened is all our intellect is to see that we are using to see that how much more we can create wealth, how much more that we can abuse the nature, how many ways that I can take care of the wealth for myself. We amass the wealth. This is what we are trying to do. Unfortunately, we are going against the way of ethics. We are against the way of dharma in this process. So therefore, essentially, that this message of going beyond the level of ethics to dharma to moksha is something which is the purpose or goal of this particular culture. Where the purpose and goal of this particular culture is beyond the level of the material world, that's what we survive. And of all these things, bhakti is an extraordinary, wonderful tool to give us that idea that what we travel is much more than the simple level of ethics. You know, all this material world is like the flute. And flute is a bamboo which has holes, and then you throw the exhaling air, out of which the melody that you get is something which is extraordinary. It's beyond all the words. In fact, Krishna in battlefield, he gives a prose. He doesn't give a prose. He gives Bhagavad Gita, a poetry. A poetry is that which rises above the ordinary human level, ordinary simple level of material to extra material. That's what is the idea of dharma takes us towards that journey. People who have crossed that journey are the people who are the guiding principles for our culture. That's why we always referred, respected these great rishis. They have given us these great truths. With these things, I think I'll stop at this level. I'll open it for question answers. People, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Raghuramji. What a beautiful session to understand Dharma and all the tenets of Dharma. You explained about Tyaga, Indriya Nigraha, Karuna, Dhana, Prema. Actually, you always keep that as the topmost level for us to rise. And I'm sure everyone here would have enjoyed the session, and so many questions have come. I really do not know how you'll be able to cover within 15 minutes, but I'm going to take up a few questions here which has come to me. So the first question is, in the Ramayana, Lord Rama chose to honor Dasharatha's promise to Kaikeyi, even though it seemed unjust to him personally. Can blind obedience to a parent's promise be considered dharma? Or should dharma involve questioning and evaluating what is right? How can we interpret this in the context of modern ethical dilemmas?
Yeah, if the promise from the parents have come from the ignorance, then we have to educate them, or we have to find out a way that they can be educated. You see, there is a rule for the education, that is, parents you cannot educate, but you find out a uh, conduit or the pathway through that the education can go on to them. Their elders, they can educate. And that's what happened. The question of Bhishma comes, that he says that if I can really take it up, I don't want to hurt my father by saying that, Father, you don't have to do these things, and I'm eligible bachelor, I should marry somebody, you should think of my marriage, not your marriage. All that question comes up, provided that you cannot do it. If you can really take care of it, you can do that. If the parents demand is something in such a way that you can educate them, you can see that it is coming from the ignorance, you can knowledge them. This is something which can easily be done these days because the situations are there available like that. So in Rama's case, there was no problem at all for Rama, because Rama gives an answer for that, saying that even if I take care of these things, if I stay here, it's only for the sake of my not going to the forest. He also says that Bharata is an extraordinary, wonderful, equivalent kind of a king to rule the kingdom. The kingdom is happy. Bharata is happy. I mean, Bharata will take care of the kingdom. Kingdom will not be wrong. So my being here is not going to do any damage. But on the other hand, my going to the forest, in fact, there also in the forest that Bharata offers, Rama, one thing that we'll do. You go back to the kingdom, I'll go to the forest. He offers himself. And Rama says, no, Baba, the promise that I have taken up, I have to fulfill. You go to the farm, you go to the Ayodhya. Actually, at that point of time, you go back to Ayodhya. Rama did not have any answer. Because after all, we understand this, Rama and Bharata, they were all born at the same time. For us, Rama is very big, Bharata is small. It's not like that. They were all born at the same. And actually, what happens is after that, Bharata says he will lie down in front of Rama's uh, Parnakutira and says that if you want to leave, you cross me and leave. I don't want to take food, I just lie down here. Actually, Bharata was the first person who did the Bhuk Hartal in Ramayana. And Rama immediately says, Bharata, there's something which is really very bad, because that you are troubling your soul for the sake of your pretty discussion about these things. No, you have done something wrong. It's like Brahmatya kind of a thing, because Brahma's. So go to the river, take bath, and ask, come and pray for the excuse of Vasishta, and then you come here. You see, he cannot accept that.
Thank you, Raghuramji. I think one most important thing is you always keep telling in our sessions always is why there is a dilemma for anyone. The dilemma happens only because there is some.
So comes into the picture.
Yes.
Minus, yeah, that is what. Actually, all these things, ego is the one. As I said, up to the ethics, there is individuation. At the moment you go to Dharma, individual is dropped. Moksha is where you drop yourself. You become one with the Brahman. So that is actually always the point. In love, your ego drops. That's the greatness of experience of love. And Tyaga is that your ego you are trying to cut down. Your possessions you cut down, saying that I don't have anything like that. That's the idea. Yes.
So there is a interesting question. When there is a clash between Dharma and Swadharma, then what should come first?
Yeah. See, you cannot simply say one statement one way or the other. Both of them are very good. Both of them are very nice. You follow any one of them, you are really satisfying that. Like, for example, we have such an example in the epics itself that there is no ego is governing the factor, but it's something else which is governing the factor. Like the dharma is governing the factor, not the ego. In the case of Bhagirath, it happens like that. all the brothers who were there, and then, Renuka Devi has been cursed by Jamadagni, and then Bhagirath, he takes care of, Renuka, the Jamadagni's desire. He says, cut off your mother's head.
You mean
Again,
Parshurama, no, Raghuramji?
no, not Parshurama. So he cut off the mother's head, and then he says that, okay, now I am pleased. So tell me what you require. What do you want? He said, first thing is that, Dad, you never is angry like this. I think somehow anger is riding on you. Can you please give up your anger? He gave up the anger. That's first thing. And second thing, he says, bring back all my brother's life. Two boons. He asked, never anything for himself. It is for the sake of others. So that's why he brought back his brothers to. So all this, all that story that goes on. Like this, there are several stories. One more story that can be where, in fact, one more thing is that tapas is where you are contemplating to see that how you can come out of that guilt of it. That's what is the case of Ahalya. Ahalya was cursed to be stonewood. Stonewood means it's not that stone, but in my view, that is, she was sitting and contemplating in a stone-like way. It is like a meditation. And so that actually there, somebody gave a beautiful expression saying that she became so pure, she was eligible for Ramapada Sparsha. She came back. That's what is the idea. So these are all the things which are there, where in the case of Dharma and Swadharma, two dharmas they clash. You look at the situation and say that, is there my ego playing the part? Or is it the situation demands my intervention in one way or the other? That's what is important.
I think that becomes a very valid insight for us, Raghuramji, that contemplation, what you talked about, that Ahalya, though she thought that she has done an adharmic thing, but she has allowed herself to sit and contemplate, and then the purity or the Chitta Shuddhi has happened.
And if the Chitta Shuddhi cannot happen, where is the question of growth towards spirituality? See, one who has faltered can only grow towards spirituality. So that's what it shows. So that also gives us an idea that many times in life we would have done something or the other which is out of our own ego, out of our own this thing. We might have done it. But then we need to come out of it. We rise, recognize that, so that we don't do it, repeat the same thing. That's why it's always said all these practices are for the sake of guilt, not for the sin. Sin, the knowledge is something which will bring out the sin. You are knowing, ignorance is the one that made you to do the sin. Knowledge will bring you out of the sin. Whereas guilt is something that we need to come out of it. For that, we have all this sadhana, all these practices that we do. The guilt, this is what Patanjali calls it as klesha. See, that's why all sadhana of yoga, Patanjali gives us klesha tanukaranartham. It's not for the chitta vritti tanukaranartham. Vritti is a necessary activity that you do it. But klesha tanukaranartham, that's what Patanjali gives us.
So the next most very interesting question is, many young people today feel that adhering to the principles of law and ethics and dharma can hinder their success and lead to unnecessary struggles. How do Ramayana and Mahabharata address this perception, and what message do they offer to inspire youth to balance values and ambition?
Actually, the way that I feel it, that a lot of youth have the values, have the dharmic concept, have the ideas. Only thing is that they feel that their number is less. The society is overwhelmed by the people who are adharmic. They are the people who are shiny. So therefore, that if one person comes up, if this idea we take up even in the small little area, okay, let me adhere to dharma. See that there are people who come attracted towards that. You see that in the nature, in the recent history also, that there was so much of corruption that was there going on. And day in, day out, we were only hearing that. One Anna Hazare came up. Look at how many people followed him. That shows that people have value for non-corruptive way of practices. So these waves show us that the people are ready to follow Dharma. So our attempt should be like this in wherever that area we are, to see that we create that kind of a positive environment for Dharma so that people follow in the case of Dharma. And more people will follow. And more people, see, one person in the family, it can inspire 10 other people in the family. That's how it has to work.
I remember you saying once, try not to be apologetic when you are following the Dharma.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that becomes very important. Would you like to share more about it, Raghuramji?
The idea that is there, people, you see, I suffer because I follow Dharma. You know, that's not true at all. You follow Dharma, that's all right. Suffering is because of various other things. That is, a society is that so many things that are there because of suffer. Suffering is not because of that you follow Dharma. And people say that people who follow adharma, they are not suffering. Even that's also not true. For outside, you might look to be they're suffering, they're enjoying. But look at the way that how much that they are there. In fact, you say that they have corrupted their own consciousness when they have to become corrupt. Whereas your conscience is clean, your conscience is pure. That's what guides us.
Thank you, Raghuramji. There was one conversation where one person mentioned that because if I am truthful, I always suffer. If I was untruthful, there is always success. And we hear not only the youngsters talking, but we hear all sections of society or every age group talking about it. So can you please explain this more? Because you explain very well about Satya also, right? So
Yes. See, this idea of following ethics, in fact, that's the reason why I said that law also it has to come from within. When the society feels that law is coming from within, that you see that you are not afraid of police, you are not afraid of any of these systems that are there, because that they don't even touch you. The very fact that you don't follow those things is that they ride on you, they come against you, kind of a thing. And today, particularly, that we have so much that we have wealth, we have everything. I don't know why we have to be on the rat race. In fact, today we have so much enough for us, and people are just simply amassing the things. And now they have made wealth, and now they don't know how to spend that wealth. That's the reason they find out various means to see that how they spend away that money. So all these things are happening because not because that they are suffering because of their truthfulness, but because that they are, in fact, when I say that tyaga, prema, and all that, it's opposite to greed. It's opposite to ahankara. These are the things which are there, which because of which we suffer. Like for example, I want to be, I want to just wherever that you are, whatever the work that you are doing, you do the work. You can contribute towards that. But then people say that, look, I need to get that promotion, not this fellow, but that fellow. All the system is bad. But you see that you are a position to give the service to that, and that's what is given to you, fine. We need to really have that kind of one simple solution I would like to, normally I try to give the people that a suffering person is always trying to do the activity for the sake of happiness. A yogi happily does. Any activity he does happily does. Not the question of he is doing for the sake of happiness. Happiness is our own nature. Happiness is what we are. We don't have to go to the world outside for the sake of happiness. We have happiness within us. In fact, that's what is the biggest lesson that Vedanta gives us. We need to understand that.
there is one very interesting question, Raghuramji. When there is an apparent conflict between two universal values,
Yeah.
how to make a proper decision?
Any decision is proper. And that if it is an improper decision, you will come out of that in the next similar kind of situation. it doesn't bother you. You can easily come out of it. Decision is fine. Don't get caught up with the decision. Don't get attached to the decision. See, the attachment is for the dharma. Attachment is for the freedom within, but not for the process that we have done it. The decision that we have taken is a process, and one process will give something, and another process will give another result. But immediately, soon you realize, and you know how to face that situation, and you have the ability to face that situation. Nature gives you that.
Thank you, Raghuramji. So over to just conclude it, if you could just say that you talked about Tyaga, Satya, Prema, Karuna, Indriya Nigraha, Dhana. So if you want to put points, bullet points to say which comes first, would you say Indriya Nigraha comes first and the finale is the Prema?
The first thing that I would like to say is that this one, that law comes from within. Law belongs to us. We are human beings, that law belongs to us. We are law abiding citizens in the first place. And second thing is to embellish law. We have adapted ethics. Like, for example, I have an ethics, and when I follow the say publications, when I follow a particular activity, when I do some shopping, I follow some ethics. All those things, ethics embellish the law beyond that. On top of ethics and law, I would like to practice dharma. And first thing in the dharma that comes is the question of dana. Dana is one thing which gives you freedom from the attachment to the object outside, and happily give it to the dana. And in fact, Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita in about the Trigunas, he says that but when we give dana, see that it's a deserving dana that you give it. So that's what is in the first place that we need to do it. Datasya viti and danam. That's what is the way that you need to do. Afterwards comes the Indriya Nigraha. Indriya Nigraha is that even if I give it away or something like that, I don't feel that I'm depriving my senses, I'm depriving my happiness. So this is what is Indriya Nigraha. And then comes basically the idea of Tyaga Manobhava. And Tyaga is something where you don't need that object, but the object has its value. Oftentimes people think that Tyaga means object has no value. It's not, that's not right. Object has value. Only thing is I don't have value for that object. When this happens, normally what happens is that people still have the value. I mean, they think that they give up that object. Look at the world. See, that fellow is very materialistic. This fellow is materialistic. Like that, you start pointing out towards that again, that you are only contemplating on that. Whereas the next level that we need to go is prema, is love, compassion. These are the things which are directly connected with the Brahmasthiti, Atmasthiti. That's why Narada, while talking about this prema, he says, Trupto bhavati, you are satisfied in that. Atma Ramo bhavati. You become one with the self, Atmasthiti. That's what is mukti and moksha. In that order that he takes us, taking towards our journey of life. That's what I said, it's a purpose of life is to go towards that supreme sense of satisfaction within.
Thank you very, very much, Raghuramji. If we had more time, we could just sit and listen and keep hearing more and more. There is no end to this greed of listening. So, but I'm thankful to all the viewers and thankful to all the wonderful questions which had been posted in the YouTube channel. And if you think that you have this will benefit your children, this will benefit your family members, do share this YouTube link to all of them and share this wide. So that a lot of people hear and get an understanding about what is Dharma, what are the dharmic actions, and how it brings about a progress in oneself and a self-discovery. And that is most important, and what we have learned today from Raghuramji's talk. And more about his talks are there in our Yoga Bharati YouTube channel in his playlist also. Sanatana Dharma happens every Thursday as a satsang series. And Disha Bharat has been doing this series of ethics from epics for so many months, and we need to applaud the whole team for rigorously working towards conducting this whole 2024 series. And I'm sure they're going to be continuing the next year also with more fantastic sessions. So please don't forget to keep hearing about Disha Bharat sessions. It will happen next month towards the last week of January with another fantastic and renowned speaker on Ethics from Ethics series. So, and I thank everyone for a beautiful evening, and thank Raghuramji as always. Namaskars and loads of blessings from you, because the lessons we learned today, it's important for us to absorb it, to apply it in our life, and that is most important. That is the application of what you have taught us all this while. So let's all pray for that, and let's close the session with a beautiful prayer.
And that's all. Wish everyone a very happy new year.
Absolutely, yes. Wishing you all a very, very happy new year. And we'll close the session with the Shanti Mantra. Let's all fold our hands with Namaskara Mudra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you once again. Thank you, Raghuramji, for a beautiful, wonderful insight towards the end of the year, which is much needed. And I'm sure all of you are going to celebrate this new year with these thoughts in your mind and fresh insights also. And wishing all the viewers a very happy new year from Disha Bharat team. And thank you once again.